All right, guys, Beach Billy, Outdoor Dog Supply coming to you. We are now doing the setup video for the Alpha 200. There's a lot of new features in this Alpha 200. We're gonna go through, I'm gonna do it to the best of my knowledge. I'm gonna show you different ways. Obviously, all of us hunt a little different. Your setup's gonna be completely different with the way I use it, but I'll at least get you through and show you where you need to go and how you need to set it up. So we're gonna go ahead and start, turn it on. As y'all can see, when you first put it in, it's got the battery just like the Alpha 100 did. The chip still goes in behind the battery. So your Hunt View card, your SD card using Bird's Eye, that's where it goes. I think most people here now are fairly familiar. I'm assuming most of the people that are going to the 200 are probably owners of the 100 or at least the 320. So when it first comes on, obviously we're going to pick our language. I don't speak French. I have enough trouble with English, but we're going to stick with English here. Set default, I do no alerts. Pointing dog, treeing dog, pretty explanatory. Whatever sport you're doing. Now remember, this is alert. So this is that beeping, vibrating. If you don't want any of that, I recommend no alerts. Add a dog now. We'll go ahead and go to that since it starts up. You know, obviously if you get it in a kit, the collar in there is normally already added. But to start to add your other dogs, you're going to say yes. We are going to pair the collar. You know, if you want to enter your track and control codes off of the others, it's the same. Receive from another handheld, the wireless, you would still do that the same as you did before. You would just go to the information screen on the dog on your 100, hit your menu button, and you're going to send wirelessly. And then, of course, you would do receive from here. But right now, we're going to pair collar. We're going to hold the power button down until it beeps. None of this has changed. As you see too, I'm holding an old 15 collar. All of your old 15s, T5s, even your TT10s, all of those are going to work with the new Alpha 100. So it says dog, it's really easy. I can put red is what I'll do. So you would change your color, hit yes. We're going to go finish for now. Then you can now go to your dog list. Now y'all can see I did not want to erase my dog list for this. We just did a reset for the information. We're going to go to red. I then hit the color. We're going to scroll down and we're going to make the color red. Well, we're going to scroll up and make the color red. There we go. Okay, so now it matches the color of the collar. You know, for guys that order from Outdoor Dog Supply, you know we've got about 30 different choices. Most of those different colors you can go in and match your dog in your handheld. We're now going to go back. So now we have added a dog in. Here is a kick butt feature in the new 200. We are now going to go up and we're going to pick one of our groups, which you can see I've already done multiple groups in this handheld. It now no longer matters if that collar interferes with a collar in Chad. I can go in, it won't let me add it to Chad's group, but it will let me add it to any group that doesn't have a collar that interferes. So really, you're able to put now your buddies, yours, but let's see, so we'll go to Billy, we're gonna go manage group, then I'm gonna add a device, and then I'm gonna scroll all the way down to red, and all right, it just told me red interferes with silver, so it's not going to let me add it unless I erase silver or do red. So we're going to go no. I'm not going to mess up my group with that. We'll go back to a group I know it'll be good. We'll go to Gene, and so we'll add, activate group. Let's see, we're going to manage group, add device. Now we're going to go down and add red, and now red has been added to Gene's group. So now, if I want to go in and go to Gene's group, so all I would do is go to Billy, and we're going to deactivate group, and then we're going to go down to Gene, and we're going to activate group, and now, if you go to your dog list, you can actually see how all of these are shaded. Those are the ones it's not tracking until you get down to black and red. And now, what's also kick butt is in your dog list. If you look, you can see your battery information. You can see which collars are connected. So in the morning when you turn your 6 or 7 collars on, you never have to leave your dog list now to know which ones are connected and make sure everything's good and all your battery life is great. Another huge feature that's awesome. You know, so now if you go to the map, the only two that it's tracking is Gene. Now that we're going to the map and I see Obviously, this is a setup. When you turn it on, it's going to show you the whole United States. It's zoomed way out. The very first thing you're going to have to do is start zooming in. So once you get up close, then it's going to pull up, and it's either going to show you a topo screen, or it's going to show you whatever bird's eye or map card you put in your unit. So here we've got bird's eye in this unit, so you're seeing bird's eye on the screen. If you don't have a card in the back, this is what you're going to see. Is we're going to turn that off. That's what's so cool now. Turning stuff off and on too is just a little switch over on the side that you touch. So we're going to go back, and that's the screen you're going to see if you don't have a map card. This gives you a very detailed topo. You can see where it's showing me the swamps and the creeks over there, and all that's extremely accurate. So let's go back to our dog list for a few moments. All right, so now another cool, great way is you want to track somebody else's dog in your dog list really quick. You go in and click on it, and all I have to do is activate it. And as long as it's not interfering with one of the dogs that you're tracking, wham, you just turn that dog on that easy. Same thing. Just go to your next one on your dog list. I want to track yellow too, active. Wham, turns it on. As soon as that collar connects, it's going to show you all the GPS and stuff the same. So it is so much easier to switch back and forth from dogs. It is so easy with these groups. It is, set your groups up, get your buddies together, drink a couple beers, have a good time, get all your dogs in, and now his groups and his dogs will never interfere with yours unless you turn them on. Just a huge selling feature. That alone is something, once you use it just a couple times, it's hard to go back to the 100. We're going to go on to the next thing. Okay, next. This thing was just beeping at me, reminding me really quick. The next thing I'm going to do is show most of you guys. I'm sure if you've had handhelds in the past, a lot of times the beeping and vibrating this thing will do with tones and alerts will drive you nuts. Also, my screen going black every 15 seconds is driving me nuts too. So we'll go over the normal setup fairly quickly. First thing that you're always going to do is we're going to now go with the 200. It's a little different. We're going to go to your menu, go home, and then you're going to go to setup. And then we're going to go to tones and alerts. And I turn all of mine off. Hopefully this is something they'll change. Originally the tones and alerts were off. I don't know why they're on, but they have in the last couple updates of this. So we're gonna go in, sounds and vibration off. Handheld message alerts, I mean really for us, same thing. I don't get messages in this. If you do back and forth with your buddies and you want it to beep and let you know you have a message, leave it on, that's fine. But the big thing is gonna be your dog alerts. I turn them all off. I mean, they're really, because a question mark's going to show you if you have communication or not. Now, I know some of my guys that do tree, some of the hog guys, they like it to beep at them if they bay. I understand that completely. Bird guys, same thing. If you have a dog point, those things where you need to hear it in. Me, when I'm running 10 dogs, it sounds like a musical instrument sometimes. The thing beeps so much. All of mine I turn off. Your GPS, same thing. If you lose GPS, you're getting a question mark. So it's really, if I've got question mark for any amount of time, I'm going to look and see why I have it anyways. So I highly recommend turn all these off except for the ones you absolutely need. And then if you need to too, like the message beep, you can control what the beep sounds like. Or with your dog alerts, you can also go in and say lost communication. If you want it to vibrate or you want it to just message you on the handheld, it's fine. But yeah, the alert, it vibrates, it beeps, and with multiple dogs, it can really get annoying very, very quick. This is also where you do your bark setup. If you need to turn your bark detection on, now that's something a lot of guys use. Same place, you would just turn that on, and then that's going to show you the little box beside the dogs whether they're barking or not. And then once again too, that's where your bark alert, if you want it to vibrate and let them know it's barking, that's where all your setup would be. So really, really simple. All right guys, next, the light kept dimming on me, made me realize pretty quick, this is your display. When we go to display, it's one of the menus right on your screen. We're going to go to first your backlight timeout. That's how long it is, just like your cell phone, where if you're sitting there, it's gonna dim your light out. Here's what I do on mine. I keep mine on 2 minutes. If you leave it plugged into the vehicle all the time, some of the guys will have stays on, but now remember, that's gonna burn your battery life very quick. So I do it on 2 minutes. So if I'm looking at it, I know it's not gonna dim on me, but then I also turn my battery saver on. Now what that does is, after 2 minutes, your screen will go completely black. Reach over, hit one of your buttons, screen comes right back on. When I'm out of the vehicle or I'm talking, it saves an enormous amount of battery life. So when you're not using it, the lights and all in this thing are one of the things that really burn a lot of battery life. So when those are dimmed or when those are completely off, that is the best way to save battery life. So 2 minutes, battery saver on. How I do mine, completely up to you. Just know that if you leave your light on all the time, or when it goes to dim, it's still going to burn more than no light at all. So next is going to be appearance. Really, that's daylight colors. I leave mine on stock. I think they've got it really set. If it's too light or too dim for you in those, you can go in and adjust that. Accessibility now is a really big. They have a new touchscreen sensitivity. You can do glove or you can do normal. It's really warm here. I can tell you, I haven't got to use this. If it's cold enough for me to have to put gloves on, I might not be running dogs. The guys that have used it, I know that's been tested a bit. Everybody seems to be pretty happy with it. So if it's cold, you're wearing gloves, go in, change your sensitivity. Next is your screen size. If you're running 10 dogs, 15 dogs like we do, you really want the text size as small as possible, because the bigger it is, the more it clutters up your screen. So you can't put 10 dogs on a screen zoomed out and see anything with the big text size. So if you're running a bunch of dogs, recommend normal. If you're running 2 or 3, especially have sight issues, which is steadily catching up on me, the large is great. All right, guys, another new huge feature. Training buttons. Here's how we're gonna go. We're gonna go to your training setup. This needs to be done right from the get-go. And go into your training defaults. So do this before you add a dog, anything. And what you're gonna do is set it to how you would want each dog in your handheld done. So when I go to here, when it comes preset, it's gonna be like your Alpha 100. Left button's momentary, middle button's continuous, right button's tone. If you change the modes, you could go that, and then it would be vibrate on your right button. Or you change your buttons completely and you go to where each button controls the dog. The way these side buttons and all are now, and you can scroll through them, what you're gonna do is wanna set, I really like it where you just set each button for a different reaction. Now, me personally, I now have vibrate on all my left buttons. And I keep the continuous in the middle, and then I keep the tone on the right. If I need momentary, I bump that button one time, and that's as close to momentary as you're gonna get. Then you control your intensity just the same. You set that for each individual dog. If you've got one really timid, you can have him preset on a much lower level. That's really simple. Basically, when you do this, every time you add a dog, now my buttons will be automatically set vibrate continuous tone. Okay, so now when we go in, and we're gonna go to, let's see, we'll go to dog list. We're going to go to menu. We'll add gene since that's what the 2 collars here are on. Let's see, we'll go back to our map now. And as you see as I scroll, all right, black, vibrate continuous tone, red, vibrate continuous tone. And then now on this one, I have all the different things that I want. So if I hit this button on here, it goes to my map. If I hit this button, it goes to my compass. If I hit this button, I just marked a waypoint right here. You can also, which is really killer now, is you can go into these training buttons and you can add multiple things on the screen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you on and off. So we're going to go into your setup, training setup. We're gonna go into the training keys. We're gonna come down, pick a brand new training key. So that you're gonna come in and you're gonna go to utilities. And then we are going to scroll down to, see, and these are different things you can add. Toggle my track, but the data broadcast is the one that we're gonna do. So now that one right there, by putting this button now, when I scroll through, so we'll add another item. We're gonna do same thing with utilities. I wanna zoom out, and then this button, utilities, I wanna zoom in. All right, so now as we scroll through our buttons, all right, we're gonna go back. All right, so now when I scroll through these tops, I can turn my broadcast dog data off and turn it on by hitting a button. So you guys with a drive track, with that annoying every once in a while you gotta cut off, or if you jump in and out of vehicles and guys are hooked up to the drive track or other devices or your watch, it's that easy to turn it off and it's one of your buttons. Or you can be on your map and you can zoom in or zoom out by hitting your buttons. So you guys that are sick and tired of hitting your screen like that, how nice is it when you got gloves on or you don't want to mess to be able to just sit there and hit a button? And it's just part of your training setup now, so you can leave it on that then if you need to train a dog. But once again, training a dog now is that easy. You can have 15 dogs in here, have your button on the tone, and sit there as soon as you see the dog you want, you tone. Tone, tone. So you now can sit there and tone 5 or 6 dogs in a huge group in a matter of seconds that you could never do before. So that is, set this up like you want it, spend a little bit extra time. Get the different things on here. Like I said, even the zoom in and the zoom out on this is absolutely wonderful to have. Well, and make sure you do it right. You can see I put 2 pluses on here, so all I did was zoom in. So we'll have to go back to the training keys. Not gonna waste your time, but go back and I have to have zoom out instead of zoom in on both keys. But I think y'all got the idea. We're gonna go on to the next thing. All right, guys, next thing real quick, let's go into the new compass. Very easy, we're just gonna make it quick. All right, so we have 2 new settings in the compass. Y'all gonna look at that and go, man, I ain't never seen that before. What this is the new Pro View. This is for the guys, and you know, I've always been a big person, learn how to use the map, but this is a great way for that guy that's, you know, in the field, he's got 3 or 4 bird dogs. At a glance, he can look at them all and go, all right, they're all within a couple hundred yards. 3 of them are that way, 1's that way. You don't have to sit there and study the map. Your training, you know, settings are all still right there above you. Once again, really easy. More than 1 dog, you can scroll and see that it'll scroll down. It's very, very easy to see that you can still run multiple dogs in a compass. Or you can go back, do the normal dog compass that you're used to, and voila, that's the 3 dogs. And then, of course, you can scroll through as many dogs as you have on the bottom that you're tracking. Very easy. And then the actual arrows on the screen are what point there. Let's go to the next setting. All right. Next big setup, we're gonna go in the way that you get to a couple of these things are a little different now. They're much easier once you figure it out. If you're used to the old way, sometimes you'll dig through this and look for something and it's right in front of your face. It's not that hard to find anymore. So I catch myself sometimes going and digging into a menu and everything's right there in front of me. Let's go in. If you get on your map screen, just like before, you hit your little 3 lines of the button, it's gonna give you your menu. The difference is now, that's right where your track devices setup is. So when you go into your track device setup, this is where your auto zoom, which everybody has learned, I wish they would just remove that. That is where it'll automatically zoom to all the dogs you have on the map. Well, it sounds great. If you got 3 dogs and they're all within 300 or 400 yards of you, it works wonderful. Problem is, leave a dog at home and you're 40 miles away. Well, every minute it's gonna zoom you out to half the map and now you're looking at all your dogs. Drive you absolutely bat crazy. Leave the zoom map, the dogs off. It's easy enough to scroll up or down, especially now when you set them on the buttons. Simple. That is probably one of our #1 phone calls we get to where it's driving somebody crazy because the map's zooming in and out. So dog tracks on map. This is another, when it pops up, this one's great because the entire menu now shows on the screen. Very, very self-explanatory. Actually, it doesn't show all. So okay, let's reiterate that. If you don't want tracks at all from your dogs, you scroll down a little and hit hide all. Personally, when I'm hunting, I don't do hide all, I do 5 minutes. What that does, it doesn't clutter up your screen at all, but you can always glance at a dog and 1, know if they've covered a lot of ground in 5 minutes. 2, you know what direction they're heading. So it gives us enough time at a glance to go, okay, it looks like they're heading to the blue gate, or we're running dogs. So typically, you know, they're running where the game's running. And it just gives you a better idea of what direction that game has set his distance to. Or you can have more. Some people like 10 minutes. Or you can come down and you can show everything on the map that you want. Now, problem is if you're rabbit hunting or you're running in a pen or you're running anywhere that the dogs are going to stay in a relatively tight area or a small, it doesn't take long when you got multiple dogs to look like one big knot of spaghetti on your screen. So most of the time, you really want to limit your time on that. But do know that the 5 minutes of tracks really gives you a lot of information if you learn how to look at it. You know, 5 minutes, if a dog looks like he's covered a mile of ground in 5 minutes, obviously he's not sitting there cold tracking something. And then once again, too, it really gives you a good indication of what direction the game has come from. Dog display, same thing. That is where I love to see the distances on the screen. Very important. At a glance, once again, that gives you the indication, hey, dog's 400 yards from me. Hey, dog's 300 yards. Dog's 1.2 miles. It gives you whether or not you need to zoom in relatively quick and make sure that, hey, he is still in a safe zone. Dog name, same thing. Some guys like to keep with the different colors on the screen. I know there's some guys that don't put the names. They want as little as possible. Some guys don't have anything but the arrows or the dog, you know, status itself. But this is where you would change that. So if you don't want to show the name, you turn it off. I leave mine on. Show dog distances. Right now it's off with the reset. I keep mine on. I love to see on the screen how far the dog is from me. Show the lost dog timer. This is a new feature in here. It's absolutely wonderful. it shows you when that last question mark. So when you're running 10 dogs and 2 of them have been question marked, you can look down at a glance and go, oh, well, it's only been for 30 seconds. No reason to get, because the dog hadn't gone but so far in 30 seconds. Look down and say, oh, I ain't tried that dog in 30 minutes. Hey, maybe I need to go ahead and pick up real quick and run over there and get a track on the dog and make sure that he's still in a safe location. So for your hound runners, those guys, that is a new feature that's absolutely wonderful. When you're at a hunt, when you're anywhere, there's a lot of interference. All you guys know, part of these systems are you're going to get some type of interference because there's so many collars and so much frequency in the air. Now you get to know, hey, all right, I picked him up 3 minutes ago, so obviously if we get heading that direction, he's there. Super, super nice new feature in the system. Then once again, the last one is show barks. You can turn that on, turn it off. It's just another indicator. It's letting you know if the dog's barking or not. Mine, if he's running, I'm pretty sure he's barking. It's something that I don't use as much. Where the guys are really using it is when you've got hog dogs, you've got, of course, obviously treeing, coon hounds. If that dog stopped and he's barking, obviously you know he's treed. He's stopped, he's barking, you know he's bayed. A lot of guys that run slower dogs are that. You can look in there and see a group, and they might be beaten. Well, they might just be hitting the edge of a field, working their way out. Or you look down and they're barking, you know they're running something that hit the edge of the field and is working out. So some people love it, some people don't. Personally, don't use it that much myself, but that is something that a lot of people and certain types of hunting, it's really good, and that's where you would turn it on and off at. As the bar feature, obviously the collar itself has to have that feature for it to work. Your TT15s, your full size and your mini both have the bark feature in them. Once again, you've got to have the bark feature in the collar in order for it to be able to work on the handheld. We do huge amounts. We do tons and tons of trade-ins every day. I think you're going to find we're going to be able to offer you a better price than most on any of your equipment you send in. And, the 320 should still, the Alpha should still have plenty of value, or the 320 you have. We move a large volume of used stuff out of here. So, if you can't afford the 200, we will have plenty of 100s in stock. And I'm going to guess that the prices are going to be better than they have in the past. So, thank you very much. I will talk to you soon. Keep on. We're getting ready to do some setup videos for the 200. That's going to be the major. As soon as we get to use it a little more and get it out, we'll do a troubleshooting video trying to help. And we might even do a startup one, because a lot of the things are still the same as the 100. That little things that you might hit a button and your screen go clear, you turn your map off, so stay tuned with us, and we're gonna get all those videos out to you also. Thank you guys.